time.
YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, what it do? It is your boy King Kane, aka the Fit Pharaoh, coming at you with another video. Today's video, guys, is a topic video with your boy King Kane, and I'm gonna start calling this straight talk because I don't know what else to call it. It was brought to my attention that one of my friends that I recently started working out with, he had a few questions about weak muscles because he said there's certain muscles that he has that won't develop. And well, he asked me this probably like at the beginning of our training, because we started training about a month ago, and his muscles are starting to develop now, and he's not understanding why, because he said throughout all the years of him trying to train that specific muscle, he was never able to grow it. So it made me think, why not give you guys a video about weak muscles, a true and a false weak muscle, and how to develop them or build them. You know, same difference basically, right? Let me take a drink because I'm kind of thirsty. Never tell nobody what's in your cup. It ain't none of their business. For anybody who knows who that is, you are the true MVP. Anyway, so weak muscles. How can you strengthen a weak area or a muscle? Now, before I get started with that, I'm gonna tell you guys right now, everybody has a weak or an undeveloped muscle, obviously, but we also have that one specific muscle, maybe more than one, that you just can't grow to the potential that you think it has. That has to do with a lot of other reasons. I'll get into that. Even top athletes, some of them have good and great genetics, but there's some muscles that they just cannot grow to the potential that they want it to grow to, or the strength they want it to be. That has a lot to do with genetics, athletic history, and muscle recruitment, which I'll get in a minute. Now, things that we should work on. Boom. Okay. So, how to work on attacking these muscles, or ways to build these muscles, okay? Working on your delayed muscle first. And a delayed muscle is basically what we consider the undeveloped or the weak area. What it is basically, okay, for me, let me give you a scenario. So for me, it was my back. There were certain areas in my back that I wanted so much rip definition to it. I want that aesthetically pleasing look so bad. And I'll put a picture up there of my back in a second. And to get that, it took me maybe 3 to 6 months of strict training to get that. Now, I could have gotten a lot better, but I was happy with what I got at that time because it was my first time doing it on my own. So what happened was, the way I had attacked those muscles around my lats, my inner lat, my lats, was basically I had to work on that delayed muscle first before I did the workout, before I did my true workout. Basically your warm-up set. Your warm-up set is your warm-up workout, if that makes sense. So whatever you do to warm up those muscles will actually be considered a light workout before you get into the real workout. That's what I did. I'm not saying, I'm telling everybody this is the key, pure 100% way to do it, but this is what worked for me, and it gave me some great results. All right, so what I did for that muscle was I would lay on my stomach on a bench press or something like that, just some flat surface. And I would get like 5-pound weights, no heavier than that, because you don't need a 10-pound weight. So if you're going to be doing something that has to do with working your shoulders or your back in that kind of position, it's just not good for your joints. Trust me, it will save you a lot of heartache in the long run if you don't go stupid heavy with that. All right, so I would lay on my stomach and I would basically do flies, basically, lay on your stomach and flap your arms like wings. Okay, I would do it with 5-pound weights, and I would do it in sets of 5 sets of 20. Okay, and that was to activate those small muscles in my back that just wasn't being worked as much doing the real work. It's like if I was doing back rows or shrugs or something, not shrugs, but back rows, or just a whole bunch of different other back workouts, the T-bar pulls and all that. Those side muscles were not activated. and it was so annoying. It got to the point where my rhomboid was so thick. And again, when you see the picture, you're like, okay, I can see what he's talking about. It was so thick, it was overpowering the rest of my back. Okay, so other things that you can do to help increase the activity of that delayed muscle. You can do more sets. When you're doing the workout, sometimes that delayed muscle isn't going to feel that same effect as the other area of that muscle. Like I said, the back. The back is a big muscle, but it's got separate areas to it. So now let's say you're doing lat pull downs, okay? So your outer lats will get flared out much easier when you're doing lat pull downs, right? Now you can still work the inner areas of the lats, but you won't start feeling those areas until much later on. And that's why it's called delayed muscle, because it's not being as active as the outer layer of those muscles. So therefore, they're not getting the same effect, they're not being worked enough, and there's not enough blood flow in it. Okay, so increasing the sets, meaning you're doing more sets with maybe lighter weight. You don't necessarily have to do heavier weight. It's probably recommended that you do lighter weight so you can do more sets, which again, if you're trying to build that muscle or strengthen it, lighter weights, more reps, more sets makes more sense. All right, try to increase the weight is the third. Again, sometimes if you're, some people, I don't know, it's hard to touch on that one because I don't really use heavy weights like that anymore. But when I did use heavy weights, it did force more blood to go to the muscle, which means it would expand more. So heavier weights, not extremely stupid heavy where you can only do like 3 reps. That's stupid. But enough so you can get a good blood flow to bring that blood to the muscle so it can expand and break the muscles and rebuild later on. Okay? Now, alright, so let's talk about true weak muscles and false weak muscles. Okay, so what is a false weak muscle? A false weak muscle is basically an undeveloped undeveloped muscle that is due to lack of training, ineffective training, and basically rushing through your workout, which is basically all 3 of those things in a nutshell. So if you're not training properly or effectively, that muscle can't grow but so much. It might not even get stronger. You're just basically poking at it. You're poking fun at it. You're playing with it. Okay? Playing with yourself. So what you need to do is really focus on the full range of motion when you're doing these exercises. So you make sure that every muscle that you're trying to activate is completely activated. Lack of training meaning don't just train it once a month like people do legs. Because I know some of y'all only train legs once a month, if that. Don't lie. Anyway, so, smash the like button if you do leg day more than once a week. Alright, you are the true MVP. So, lack of training, inefficient training, and rushing through the workout. Those 3 things are considered what is the cause of a false weak muscle, because it can be developed and it can get stronger. Like my back, I thought it was a true weak muscle, but it turned out it was a false weak muscle because there was areas in my back that were lacking, but I was able to build it up and make it bigger and stronger. Now, what is a true weak muscle? A true weak muscle is basically a muscle that, let's put it this way, guys, you'll kind of understand this. You got, what you have is what you have. It's not going to get no bigger. It might get a little bit stronger. Might be able to go a little bit longer. But what you have is what you have. That's what God has given you, and that's what you have to work with. Ladies, same thing. What you have is what you have. Unless you do surgery. I don't recommend that. Just a joke. Just saying. Anyway. Basically what happens is with a true muscle is, a true weak muscle is, again, you can only get but so big. Now, you can get it stronger. I believe you can get it stronger because I have, like me personally, my calves are probably the most smallest part of my legs. I used to have bird legs, but I've been working on it for quite some time now, and it's gotten thicker, but not to the extent that I want it to get. So I'm thinking that it's just basically, that's what I have to work with. So I can make it stronger. I jog a lot, I run a lot, I do compound movement, isolated movements, and my legs have gotten stronger as far as my calves. but I don't think they're going to get really big and long like I would like it to be. So that is considered a weak muscle. Now, what are the causes of a true weak muscle? Here's the root of the problem. A true weak muscle is caused basically from genetics, again, athletic history, and not being able to recruit the muscle, because that's just how your body mechanics function. It's like, okay, I don't see why you want me to do this. This is what I have. Okay. So, genetics. Genetics basically is, let's say, I've been told and I've read in some books that genetic only plays like at max 10% of your actual structure build, which I kind of agree and kind of don't agree, because in my family, I'm legitimately the tallest person in my family out of everybody. Well, my granddad was tall. Well, yeah, I think my granddad was like 6'4", but everybody else in my family is at least no taller than at max maybe 5'11". Or maybe 5'10". Anyway, I got all of them by 3-4 inches. Anyway, no, 4 or 5 inches. Yeah. So anyway, yeah. So I don't want to say it plays a big role, but it does play a little bit of a role. It does make a point that if your family's dominant chest wise or upper body wise, you most likely will be too. Now, athletic history. Athletic history means basically what you did in your younger years as a kid. Not necessarily playing sports, but how active were you in your younger years. That's going to play a big role into your development until your older days. Jesus. Anyway, so like, if you were one of the kids that were born in the 90s, we didn't have too many video games. So what did? We went outside and played hide and go seek, tag, and red light, green light, and stuff like that. So we were active. So that means most of the kids from the 90s should be able to run.
Okay.
Bullshit. A lot of them can't. Anyway, but basically what I'm saying is about athletic history is if you played soccer when you were a younger kid, you should have some kind of good muscle development in your legs, and even your stamina should be okay if you continued with it too. But people with an athletic history means basically that muscle might be able to grow a lot quicker because you activate it at a younger stage. Okay, now let's talk about muscle recruitment. Muscle recruitment means if you're working a muscle, you're not getting, all the muscles around it aren't being activated as well. So therefore the full muscle isn't going to grow. That's the best way I can explain that. So again, I'm going to use my back because that was the best definition I can give you guys. My rhomboids got so developed that the rest of my back was underdeveloped. So it just looked like I had a big giant mountain in the center of my back, and the rest of it was like, it was okay, but it wasn't as eye-popping as that rhomboid. And again, matter of fact, I'm going to just throw the picture at you right now. You can see how big my rhomboids are, and which is that center part of the back. It looks like a freaking mountain, and the rest of it is looking kind of flat to the side. Now I'll show you another picture a little bit later where you can see more development and everything looks good. I don't know why I got my butt sticking out like that, but it looks better. Everything looks more aesthetically pleasing. Everything seems more symmetrical, and everything seems more activated. Of course, I'm squeezing my back, but it's showing you every muscle that's been used and how much I've trained it. All right. So, muscle recruitment again just basically means every part of that muscle is not being activated. Something is being overpowered because it's being worked the most, and the rest of it's not getting the same amount as of attention. So that was basically it, guys. That was my descriptions on a weak muscle versus a false weak muscle versus a true weak muscle. If you want to really try your best to work those muscles and try to develop them to the best of their abilities, use light weights, do a lot of repetition, and do that before you do the major workout where you're lifting heavy weights. So don't be discouraged, guys, because there's plenty of athletes who just can't develop that muscle that they really want to develop to the highest bidder. So you're not alone. Don't worry about it. Try to develop it to the best of your ability. Again, you can strengthen it. It can get stronger, but it might not be able to get as big as you want it. That's just how it goes, guys. Still, don't let it deter you from training it, because you want to look aesthetically pleasing as much as possible, and keep pushing. So that has been my time, King Kane, straight talk with the Fit Pharaoh, and your boy is gone.